Hi, and welcome to the Team 1 pitch for the Fuel Challenge at QUT Entrepreneurship. So Team 1 consists of myself, Owen, Nee, and Kate. So the first thing we did was we looked at the initial problem space. So initially the three of us were really interested in autonomous vehicle integration. So we looked at the sector and the current problems and issues and had a good think about, okay, how could we kind of target this and look at creating a solution for this sector. To help us in that endeavor, we sent out a survey and we asked questions about public transport, walking around the city, thoughts on the city, and of course, thoughts on autonomous vehicles. And we were really surprised by the results. We took all of the data and we mapped it in affinity maps, like this one that we can see. So this was people's experiences of the city. And we were really surprised to see actually a lot of people had concerns about people and safety. We were also really surprised to see that most people were not actually interested in autonomous vehicles. A lot of the survey data said either not interested, worried about the infrastructure, worried about safety, or very similar things. At this point, we were kind of thinking of moving away from autonomous vehicles. We realized, okay, maybe we had gone in too deep and already had a solution to a problem. So we stepped back. We thought about, okay, well, if there's a common issue with safety, maybe we can look into this. So we made some personas, and this is an example. So then we applied our personas to a situation. In this case, our person of interest has just finished work on a Tuesday. So we went through the scenario, okay, what do these people actually experience? All of this led to us completely redefining our problem statement, moving away from autonomous vehicles, and instead looking at a person who feels anxious about moving through the city, who needs to move safely but faces harassment by other people. All of this work prompted us to kind of rethink what we were looking at. So we started thinking about some how might we questions. We ended up grouping all of this down into 5 categories. So empowerment, services, identification, prevention, and community. And in the end, it was one of the community questions that we really ended up settling on as, okay, this is what we want to go forward with.
After defining our how might we question, how might we involve the community to make it safer for everyone, we moved on to ideation. We began with a really broad, nothing's too crazy sort of ideation to really get the ideas flowing. Another thing we did is that we did our ideation asynchronously, and this allowed us to help avoid groupthink. After that first round of ideation, we pulled all our ideas and used the scamper method to come up with even more ideas. We then voted on those ideas and took our highest votes and we mapped them on the impact effort matrix, and we ended up with these 3 ideas in the top left that were the ones that we decided to develop further. We each chose a section and we did some crazy 8s for each one of those ideas, and this helped us to think out how those scenarios could play out, how those ideas could be further extended. We then chose our favourite idea from our crazy 8s and further developed that into an art museum piece, the idea being that we could present and kind of pitch these ideas to each other. We then did a speed critique with our post-it notes to pull out the points that we liked and to vote on aspects we like, before doing an overall vote and deciding on which idea to further develop into our final stage of development. From there we moved on to wireframes. So we went with the idea of our Safe Space app, and here we just used boxes, really simple layouts to work more on getting that user flow right and to test our assumptions. And so we used this wireframe to do our user testing.
After developing our wireframes, we proceeded to get some user feedback. So they understood the green and blue markers, but was a little bit unsure about the additional markers. They also thought that the go button should be at the bottom of the map rather than at the top, which was something that we looked into for our final prototype. They really liked the history option as well, as they would rather choose a space based on familiarity rather than proximity. One of the very interesting feedback that we got was that they would rather just call someone they know rather than using the app. And that's why in the final prototype, we also included an emergency contact page so that they can contact, their mom or their dad or anyone who are close to them. Yeah, so now let's get to our final prototype. So as you can see, we split up into 3 rows because at the top is about, like the map, like the locations, all the information that the user would initially get when they open up the app. The second row is when the user chooses a location to go to, and this location usually would be based on proximity. For this demonstration of the app, we just chose the closest location, and then to demonstrate how the user would get to that location. And then after the user has successfully reached their destination, the last row signifies that there will be a follow-up period where we would send them like a sort of like a feedback survey, so they could tell us what they thought about the whole experience. Let's get right into it. So the app opens up in that way, and we chose blue as it's a very common color, and we thought that there should be a consistency within the app. So it would open up to a map with all the safe space locations clearly marked at different locations. And here we have Rob's Pizza, so it would show the name of the location, how far it is from the user, which is signified by this icon, and how long it would take for them to get there. And on this map, you could see that you can click on multiple locations, which shows the name, the distance, and how long it would take. Yep. And there's also a profile button you can click on so that the user themselves could put in the information, so first name, last name, email address, phone number, emergency contact name, emergency contact number, which links back to what I was saying before about how some people would rather just call someone they know, like the emergency contact number, rather than using the app to find a safe space. There's also the history button, and there are places that the user has visited. And for example, if you click on Mellow Coffee, then it would show you how long it is that would take to get to that location. We also put in a call 000 button, and that would lead directly to a call to the emergency services. And then you can end call and then go back to the map. Now, once the user feels that like they need to go to a safe space, they would press go, and that would lead them to a location, and the moving icon just signifies that they're walking towards the destination. Yep, Merlot Coffee, 123 Fake Street. And then the user themselves can show this off the message to signify that they're here for the safe space. And then staff would get training about what to do. That could be, like calming the user, asking if they need anything, asking them if they need to be walked to a nearby bus stop or train station, and that would be included in the training that will be given to the staff at that establishment when they sign up as a safe space. And after using the app, the user can close the message, and afterwards there will be a feedback survey sent to the user. The first question would be, have you reached your destination? Like, yes. There will be the question, were there any issues? We go back, and if we click no, the user will be able to call the emergency contact. So let's just say if we click yes, were there any issues? No. Then you could see that there's a box for the user to provide any more feedback. You can go next, and then that would be the end of the user's experience using this app. Thank you so much for listening. This was Team 1.